leads us to believe the threat should be heightened.
Deputy Commissioner, thanks very much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
When Louise Hawson almost lost her life after being bitten by a white-tailed spider, she decided it was time to take on a new and exciting challenge and pursue the one thing that interested her most, photography. Her mission was to photograph one suburb a week for a whole year and share the images online. But what began as a blog for friends and relatives quickly became a site with a huge following, eventually coming to the attention of a book publisher and the Museum of Sydney. The year-long project took Louise Hawson on a journey through the many cultures of the world, and she didn't even leave Sydney.
I started looking around for a project that would challenge me a little and interest me, and you know, I'm a curious person. I like to roam, I like to sort of explore. It kind of slowly dawned on me that my own city was foreign territory. And I was a stranger in my own city. So a great project might be to explore my own city. I thought, you know, give it a year, do one suburb a week, 52 weeks, 52 suburbs, and I would blog about it. I wanted to share it, have it as a, you know, shared experience. And so that's how it came about. I chose my suburbs with extreme spontaneity and randomness, complete randomness, almost. Because I'd set myself such a sort of constrained structure, one suburb a week for a year, I thought the least I can do to allow myself some flexibility is come Monday morning, think to myself, where do I feel like going? What I found really is what I intellectually knew, that Sydney's a very multicultural city, but it's one thing to know that intellectually and quite another to walk down a main street of a suburb and feel like you're the minority, the absolute, pretty much the only whitey. And so week by week, kind of my mental image of Sydney kind of grew. The two images side by side with the caption, they juxtapose often completely disparate images, but there's something similar. It could be a shape or a tone or a pattern, and by marrying them you sort of draw attention. One image informs the other, and you just, it's sort of the sum is greater than its parts in a way. We long to travel around the world, but you can pretty much go around the world in Sydney. I guess it was the Greater West that was the most surprising. Auburn was really quite one of those amazing moments where I knew there was a fantastic, huge mosque there, the Gallipoli Auburn Mosque, which is in the sort of guise of Hagia Sophia from Istanbul. I knew it because I researched it somewhere. I found out about it, and you have to sort of organise a tour if you want to see the mosque. So I'd set that up, but still, you know, just driving off Parramatta Road to see these minarets appearing, and it's quite amazing to see them in the foreground. There's some little old shacks and then these huge minarets. And then the main street's very vibrant, all different cultures, particularly Turkish, lots of amazing food. But up the other end are the Auburn Botanic Gardens, which are just beautiful. And it was just one of those, you're kidding me moments. I had probably one every few weeks. In Lidcombe, I discovered this fantastic retro pool. I was driving past this road and I saw Aquatic Centre and I thought I'd have a look. And it kind of looked a bit retro from the outside. So it was a complete stumble upon. And it's just the most wonderful retro creation that is still completely intact. I've just found out the diving block's been condemned, and I was up there only a year or so ago, and it was pretty spooky, I have to say, so I'm not surprised. But the rest of it hasn't been altered. There's maybe a lick of paint occasionally, but the tiles are all the same. Just wonderful to find it here. And I was thinking, you know, if it was in the inner city, it would be probably spruced up and it'd be full of very trendy inner city types, but here it's just regular people. Not that inner city trendy types are not regular, but you know what I mean. There are many times I've felt like I was in a foreign country. If I just squinted my eyes and just kind of got into the zone, it was like being in a different place. Cabramatta, Lakemba, Granville's got this incredible mix. When I first struck it, I was like, get me out of here. There's nothing here to photograph, nothing to see. But my philosophy is if you walk slowly enough and look hard enough, you're going to find something of interest. And in fact, that suburb contains so many different cultures. Within that one suburb, your head sort of swirls, you know, you're just sort of constantly rotating the globe in a way. It's cheap travel. But when I was in Kirribilli, you know, there is the obvious, and I didn't know how much interest the place would hold. I met this lovely woman called Isabella, who is a very stylish woman from Eastern Europe, and she told me she lived in Greenway in the Housing Commission block of flats, and I kind of went, oh, those ones there that I've never really noticed. So I went and explored around there, and you know, it's got a real history, that place, but it has $1 million views from many of those places, and yet they're paying their, you know, I don't know, 15% of their Centrelink payments per week that's public housing. I think I calculated I've got another 12 years to go if I want to continue to, you know, cover the whole Sydney, all 680 suburbs or what have you. There's endless stuff happening out there. I mean, that's the best part about this project. It was just a big excuse to stop rushing in my life, just to go beyond that. And that's what we do when we travel overseas, don't we? We engage with different people. Our eyes suddenly are sort of so much more open. That's what I did for a year, and it was one of the most fulfilling years of my life. And so I'd love to do it again.
And an exhibition of Louise Horson's photographs from 52 suburbs begins tomorrow at the Museum of Sydney. That's the show for this week. Join Lee Sales and Chris Uhlmann at 7.